Yeah. So I think I am audible. So welcome to the final NPTEL session. So today we are going to discuss some of the questions that we have learned in few lectures. Last few lectures. So starting from week 1 to week 12, I think you remember. So please complete the classes and all the best for your upcoming exams in annual physiology. Yeah, so that's it. Let me share the screen. Yeah, so if you remember, SAR classes started this class with knowing that we should know about our own body, right? So now I hope at least you know about different organ systems about your body. That's how you know more about your body. It will provoke you to think about the following. Think about the following. So how is our body function? Now we know that different systems in our body, how is able to performing, what is it made up of? So we know what the structural hierarchy, what each organ systems are made of. Organs are made of tissues are made of cells. So inside the cell, there are again some chemical constituent that constituting a cell, how its regulation is disrupted and how the body tries to restore its normal functioning. So that process is known as homeostasis, right? Whenever there is a altered or any kind of disruption, our body has mechanisms that always try to restore and bring back it to the normal routine things. That is known as homeostasis. How the body adjusts itself under extreme physiological situations and how it recalibrates its functions. Again, that is one another definition of how is the homeostasis, how the body adjusts itself under extreme physiological situation and again recalibrating it with the function. So yeah, so overview that we have learned in the last 12 weeks are, first we started with introduction, then went ahead to integumentary system and learned about skeletal system. Then we learned about in integumentary system we learned all the about our own skin layers, functions, uh, accessory glands like about nails, hair, etc. We continued with skeletal system in that week itself. So in skeletal system, especially about the sliding filament theory, how the mechanism is happening, how skeletal muscles are coordinating with neural system. So week 3 and 4 was the continuation of that, how the skeletal muscle is able to coordinate its activity with neural system, what is the structure of neuron, what are the other things present there, what are the other kind of uh, how the information is getting passed, how what is action potential, what are excitable cell, how action potentials are generated and transmitted across neurons, what is synapses, what are the other types of cells present in brain and what are its function, where this all can be seen, and about coming to the topic about diseases, different types of degenerative disorder, spinal disorder, all these things we have seen. And then finally, in week 10, we have mainly seen the special senses about neural system, about vision, how it's making the coordinating the activity for hearing, for taste, all these things. And we continued with cardiovascular system where we learned about our heart and all, what are the chambers, how they are made, what are the peculiarities and all continued with. So, heart always purifies the blood and it is always connected to lungs. So, in the week 11, we mainly learned about respiratory system, what is the function of heart, and how they are able to perform and how they are able to helping in the purification of blood and refill the oxygenated blood back to heart. So that about those connections and about all the different types of blood vessels. And finally, in the virtual, it was a wrap session, including we learned about lot of things, including endocrine glands, digestive system, blood, kidney, and finally about reproductive system, males and females separately. So this was the overview of the last 12 lectures that we have gone through. Now I will read some of the questions that we have maybe already discussed or we have already touched upon in last 12 weeks. So I'll read it. Then I will wait for 1 or 2 minutes. These are simple question. It doesn't make much time. So you can, if you know the answer, you can type the answer in the chat box. Exams will be, I think you got the notification, I guess it will be subjective plus objective. A lot of type of questions will be there. But we are discussing like optional wise assignment type of questions only. That kind of questions also you can expect, but other than that, in exam you will get subjective wise exams also. Subjective wise questions also. So let's read the first question and I will give 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds. Then we can address the answer. Then we can go ahead with the next question. In anatomical terms, the dash plane is a vertical plane that divides body into left and right portion. And also, please remember whatever we are discussing today. Also, maybe this is this we have learned in the first introductory session. So you can just remember not only the answer of the question, but try to remember what are the other option, what are the other different plane, each plane, how many planes are there, what are the other names of different. So if you go back to our first lecture, we you can remember like there are multiple names of each planes itself. So please revise back today itself and then study all these things. Okay. So question is, in anatomical terms, the dash plane is a vertical plane that divides body into left and right portion. Option A, transverse. Option B, sagittal. Option C, frontal. Option D, coronal. So Shreya, you can answer if you know in the chat box. Otherwise, also we can discuss. It's fine, but try to answer anything. It's then we can discuss and go one by one. So now it's 6:33. At 6:35, maybe we can discuss the answer. So try to remember what are the other options, what are the different planes, all these things. Whatever we learned along with in this direction. So yeah, it's already 6:34. So question is about the plane that divides the body into left and right portion. So correct answer is sagittal. Okay. What are the other planes you remember? We have remember about this figure. So I have added a figure here about different planes. Seeing that you will understand, right? Remember this. So this plane, this is the sagittal plane which divides our body into right and left equal halves. And there is a plane that can cut like this, right? If it cut like this, equal front and equal back portion will be getting. That plane is called as coronal plane. Okay. Now, what is transverse plane? It's transversely cutting. For example, maybe if cut like upper body will be separated and left lower body will be separated. So that plane is known as transverse plane. Coronal plane is cutting like this, and sagittal plane is cutting into equal, like right and left equal halves. Which of these muscle type is non-striated? Option A, cardiac muscle. Option B, skeletal muscle. Option C, smooth muscle. Option D, none. Non-striated is the question. Which of these muscle types is non-striated? Which means maybe the other two options have some striations and only this muscle doesn't have any kind of striations. So it's 6:37. We'll wait for till 6:38 or 6:39. Simple answer only. Then we'll discuss its answer. Which of these muscle type is non-striated? I hope you can hear me, Shreya. Yeah. If you want to answer, then you can answer in the chat box. Then we can discuss. If you don't want, also that is absolutely fine. But don't worry about the whether the answer is right or wrong for now. You have to worry during exam, but not worry during now. It's just a discussion session, so we can just revise back some of the questions that we learned like in the week wise. So this is when we learned about muscle or skeletal muscle system and all. We learned about different types of muscle and peculiarities of each types of muscle. In that session, we have learned about what are non-striated muscles. Answer is there. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Correct answer is a smooth muscle only. Thank you, Shreya. Welcome, IVV. How are you? Hope you are fine. Yes, correct answer is smooth muscle only. Both cardiac muscle and skeletal muscle have striations, but smooth muscle doesn't have any types of striations, and also they are involuntary, right? Why it has no striation? Because it has no sarcomeres and therefore no striation. The appearance of sarcomere makes it looking like striated, gives it striated appearance. Third question. Dendrites and axon are part of which of the cell types? It's very easy question. Option A neuron, option B nephron, option C mast cell, option D glia cell. One cell type among this. Okay, Shreya has answered. Maybe you can also answer if you know what is the answer. Right or wrong doesn't matter. You can type it in the chat box. Then we can discuss. Dendrites and axon are part of which of the cell type? Yeah, so this is a easy question. I don't think we have to take the lot of time for this question. So correct answer is neuron only. Remember what are the parts of a neuron? It has a like other cell, it has a cell body. Yeah, this is a structure of neuron. So you can see here. So there is a inside that there is cell nucleus. Then there are lots of branches starting from that cell body, which is known as dendrite and dendritic branches. Then there is a very long branch starting from cell body. It will extend like anything. That branch is known as axon, and that axon originating part is axon hillock. This part also does have some resemblance, like some importance in case of synaptic transmission. Then this axon will end up in axonite, and there are like after that there is a gap between two neurons. That gap is known as synapse, and that ending is known as synaptic terminals, where you can see lot of neurotransmitters stored in lot of synaptic vesicles. So remember all these things. Okay. So correct answer is neuron only. Nephron is the part of kidney. Nephron is a functional unit of kidney. We have seen that more about kidney in the last week 12 discussion. And mast cells are also uh, um, cells in our body which can secrete like it's the basal cell which can find in fighting with the immunity kind of reactions. uh, then glia cells are the like non-excitable cell types that is found in brain. That is also found in brain. Maybe we can say them as neuron supporting cells, and they are also different types that also we have seen earlier. So in integumentary system, which of these is not a part of cutaneous membrane? So now again question is back to first after introductory session we first learned about integumentary system. So in integumentary system, which of this is not a part of cutaneous membrane? That is a question. Okay. Option A epidermis, option B dermis, option C papillary layer, option D nails. Which of this is not a part of cutaneous membrane? So all the others can be part, but one is not a part of cutaneous membrane. That means it can be a part of another membrane only. It's only a part in integumentary system maybe, but it can be a part of another membrane. So remember skin when we learned about skin, the about the outer. Okay, thanks, my Vivi. Shreya, you can also type your answer, then we'll discuss. Okay, then I have one another question. If nails is the answer, then can you tell me what are its part of which membrane it's part of? Okay, say is saying papillary. Let's see the answer. Okay, so nails are part of integumentary system, but they are not part of cutaneous membrane because they are part of epithelial membrane. It is basically nails are skin is an epithelial membrane, also called as cutaneous membrane. It is a stratified squamous epithelial membrane resting on top of the connective tissue. So basically, nails are like stratified squamous epithelial membrane. It's not a part of cutaneous membrane. Variation in hair color is because remember, along with the integumentary system, we learned about different layers of skin. After that, we have learned about the accessory parts in the integumentary system, which are nails, hairs, etc. in detail. So the question is about variation in hair color is because of dash. Option A, light around us. Option B, the food we eat. Option C, structural differences and variation in amount of melanin. Option D, all of the above. What is the correct answer? Hair color. Depending on the regions, maybe if you look at the people from Europe or US, then maybe their hair color can be not as dark as that of ours. That also varies depending on whether in which geographic region they live. But why that is happening? Biologically, if we are saying why their hair color is getting differed, is it because of the light? Is it because of the food? Or is it because of the structural differences and variation that is happening due to a protein called as melanin? Or all the above can be come as a factor. Yeah, so Shreya and Mayuri both are saying option C. Very good. Option C is the correct answer. We know it is determined by a protein called as melanin. So, an abundance of one type of melanin called eumelanin gives people black or brown hair. So, why my hair looks like black in color? Because it is contain eumelanin presence. An abundance of another melanin called pheomelanin gives people red hair. Not the people who just using the hair color and stains it red, that we are not talking about. Naturally, the people who has red color and all, if we are looking at their hair, why they have that? Because their hair contain a pigment called as pheomelanin. If it's dark, it is eumelanin. If it's red, it is contain a pigment called as pheomelanin. Okay, remember. Okay, next question. Keloid is a dash. So where we have learned, have you heard about keloid? I think keloid we have discussed in one of the assignment questions that time itself. Is it a bone tissue or is it a hair tissue or is it a lung tissue or is it a scar tissue? That is the question. Keloid. Keloid is a dash tissue. Any idea what is keloid? Yeah, so my way is saying option D. Question I will remind again, what is keloid tissue? If I go back to question, there will be answer. Yeah, so at 6:49, maybe 30-second more, then we can discuss what is a keloid tissue. Yeah, let's discuss. So basically, keloid is a scar tissue. Okay, you know, whenever some injury or something happened, for example, yeah, I have a look at. I don't know, is it visible? Oh, yeah, so there is some whenever some wound happened, and if it was like it have innervated the inner layers of our skin, then when it reverts back, the skin cannot retain the original shape that it was earlier. So it will appear some hard kind of structures which is known as a scar. So what is keloid? Keloid is also known as a keloid disorder or keloidal scar is the formation of a type of scar. It's a result of an overgrowth of granulation tissue collagen type 3 at the site of a healed skin injury. So why it is happening like that? Because wherever the wound occurred, there is an accumulation of a tissue called as collagen 3, which is a hard type of tissue, which is then slowly replaced by collagen type 1. And over the collagen 3 will replaced by collagen type 1. Keloids are firm, rubbery lesions or shiny fibrous nodules and can vary from color. For example, mine is like a kind of light color of shade. So can vary from pink to the color of person's skin or red dark brown in color. So that also can vary depending on the color of the skin or something. So mine is actually similar to the skin of the color, but due to its appearance, that still looks like as a scar only. So keloid is a scar tissue. Remember, okay? Next question. Let's go. C cells of thyroid gland secrete dash. So it's about thyroid gland. Remember last time in the week 12 we have learned also about the endocrinal system, hormonal system. We have started the week 12 with endocrinal system. We learned about different endocrine glands. So one of the endocrine gland is thyroid gland, and in thyroid gland there are different types of cells, and one of the types of cells are called C cells. So C cells in thyroid gland can secrete which type of hormone? Option A calcitonin, option B calcitrol, option C thyroxine, option D growth hormone. What is the correct answer? Yeah, thank you Shreya for the answer. Maybe we can also say then we'll continue with the answer discussion. Yeah. So both of you strongly believes it's calcitonin and it is correct only. So C, the cells itself, then that's why the calcitonin. So it's a calcium regulating hormone and which secrete whenever the body requires calcium imbalance and all. So thyroid glands can secrete calcitonin. So yeah, correct answer is calcitonin only. Okay. Um, So the thyroid C cell is to secrete calcitonin, and not only calcitonin, it can also a lesser degree, very small quantities of neuroendocrine peptides such as somatostatin or calcitonin gene-related peptides, CGRP and serotonin. All this can also be secreted from seeds, right? But main secreting hormone is calcitonin. White matter is the region dominated by dash. Option A, myelinated axon. Remember where we learned about white matter, dark matter. If it is white matter, something is there, then it will look like white. That's why it is called as white matter part of the brain. So I was just giving clues, but what is this white matter? Why it is white matter? Because of the presence or it's dominated by dash. Option A, myelinated axon. Option B, unmyelinated axon. Option C, skeletal muscle. Option D, nephron. Shreya is saying option A. Let's wait for my Mary's answer. Yeah, both of you are saying option A. Very good. That is the correct answer. Why it's white matter? Because of the presence of myelin sheath. The particular region of the brain looks like more white in color. And wherever the myelin sheath are not present, unmyelinated neurons are there. That part of the brain we call as gray matter. So white matter contain myelinated axon. Very good. That's why it looks like whitish in color. So white matter is found in the deeper tissues of the brain. It's where it can be seen. It can be seen in the subcortical layers. It contains nerve fibers or axons, which are extension of nerve cells, which are covered by myelin sheath. Many of these nerve fibers are surrounded by a type of sheath or coverings called myelin. Myelin gives the white matter its color. Dash is a ring-like structure containing melanocytes and is part of the eye. Option A, ciliary muscle. Option B, retina. Option C, iris. Option D, cornea. Ring-like structure containing melanocytes. Maybe some people has dark pupil, some has blue color eyes, some has green colored eyes. So why that different colors? Because of that is because of melanocytes. Question is where we can see my melanocytes, and they are also giving a clue that structure looks like a ring like structure. So my Maybe is saying iris. Is Shreya supporting my Maybe, or do you have a different answer? Yeah, Shreya is also supporting that it's iris. Very good. Correct answer only. Very good that you remember all these things. So this we have learned when we talked about eye. Eye was part of neuronal system and special senses. First special sense that we learned was about vision. Okay, so please refer back to all the things that we learned about different layers of eye, what are the cell types, subtypes present in each layers, how each structure is maintaining the function, how rod cells and cone cells are able to do its function, what happens during light and dark. Usually the resting membrane potential is this, but in the eyes there is difference. So all these things, please go back and revise and please understand that it will there will be subjective question also, so knowing the basic principle of each classes is very important. Okay. um yeah, so iris has melanocyte, that's the cells that make a pigment called melanin. The amount of melanin in the iris is what gives eyes its color. Okay, that's why maybe some has dark, some has blue, some has green, depending on amount of melanin higher, then maybe it's darker. If lesser melanin or different types of melanin, maybe then the pigment, the eye looks in different colors. Plasma membrane is a dash. Option A, sulfated monolayer. Option B, phospholipid bilayer. Option C, plasma membrane is a rigid structure. Option D, it's red colored structure. Yeah, yeah, simple answer, right? I expected the speed in this answer. Yeah, very good. So plasma membrane is basically a phospholipid bilayer. Remember, it is covered with phospholipid bilayer, and there are we can see some of protein, different types of protein. Maybe the protein entirely spanning transmembrane proteins. Some are only in the external surface. External type of proteins can be found in the this layer of phospholipid bilayer, and also some cholesterol molecule can be there. Each has its own properties. Okay, so phospholipid bilayer is the correct answer, right? This is what I say. It's a phospholipid bilayer. It's head and tail. Remember, hydrophobic head, hydrophilic tail, and there are different types of proteins present in them. Next question. Erythropoietin is majorly synthesized in dash. Option A, kidney. Option B, lungs. Option C, heart. Option D, pancreas, where we can synthesize erythropoietin. Okay, thank you, Maiviri. Maiviri is saying option A. Is Shreya supporting? Erythropoietin, EPO, which helps in the synthesis of RBC. Remember where we learned about erythropoietin? Okay, so correct answer is kidney only, right? Erythropoietin is synthesized in kidney only. It can also synthesize renin also, and remember about kidney's mechanism. Renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, how it maintain the homeostasis, how it maintain the blood pressure, all these things. Kidney also can synthesize CPO. It's a glycoprotein hormone. It is mainly synthesized from the peritubular cells of the kidney, which stimulates red blood cell production. So, if you remember in that class, started the class by saying there are some sports people who has used this drug before the sports or some kind of race or any kind of maybe cycling or swimmers. So what it do generally, if you take erythropoietin, it will increase the RBC production, and as a result, you can actually withstand lot of oxygen carrying capacity will increase. That will enhance your performance, like the amount of that whatever you can do, that will increase, right? So EPO is a drug that is banned in sports sector. So basically EPO is synthesized from kidney. I think this help, my aim is just to remind you what all things we have learned along with that particular question and what are the other things, so that you can remember, okay, that like we learned all these things also. So that's why I am telling again and again. This is again one another question from the endo hormonal system only. So it's about the last part of the last class. It's about the what else? It's about male sex system and female sex system, and there are we have learned about testes and ovary, and they have separately produced hormones in especially in ovary, and they produce progesterone and estrogen like hormones. What is the function of progesterone when it reaches maximum, especially in females? They follow a cyclic period activity, unlike males, where it is very continuous, but in female, they process a cyclic kind of activity, and that cyclicity is regulated with the help of lot of hormones. So, two hormones are progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone level reach its maximum during DASH, and estrogen level reach its maximum during DASH. So Sir has actually showed a flowchart with the cyclicity, the number of period of days which hormone is peaking the activity. So if you remember that chart, then you can easily answer this. Is it before ovulation, both before ovulation, or progesterone reach maximum before ovulation and estrogen level reach maximum after ovulation? Or is it opposite, progesterone after ovulation or estrogen before ovulation, or both after ovulation? What is the correct answer? Sure. So there is some kind of disappointment, no, not disappointment, disagreement in the answer. Uh, Shreya is saying option B and Maybe is saying option C. So let's see the answer. Correct answer is progesterone. Progesterone's name itself is progesterone is known as pregnancy hormone. So if the egg is has mated with a sperm, then the amount of progesterone will increase. So it will definitely increase its amount after ovulation. So it amount peaks after ovulation, and estrogen especially it peaks before ovulation. That's why the ovulation is happening itself. So correct answer is option C. It's fine. No issues like this. So since we discussed, now we'll remember. Okay, this is the thing. So remember, progesterone name itself is a generally known as pregnancy hormone. So then you can remember. Okay, it peak its activity after ovulation. And you can also, this is the screenshot of the SARS slide that day. So you have seen the red color one here is estrogen, and the green color one in that is progesterone, and the days are mentioned. So 14th day is the ovulatory day, we can see here. So 14th days just before there is a peak for the red peak, which means estrogen peaking before ovulation, and the green color is peaking around maybe 21 days, 21 of the cycling days, which means that is after ovulation. So progesterone peaks during after ovulation, but estrogen before ovulation. At any given point, artery hold dash than veins. Option A, less blood than. Option B, the same amount of blood as. Option C, more blood than. Option D, none of the above. Remember what is the peculiarity of artery? Is it has a thick wall compared to veins, or is it a thin wall? I will discuss when I will say the answer, but just trying some clues. If the wall is thick or thin, then what will happen in the volume change that it can hold? So arteries can hold dash amount of hand veins. Okay. Maybe we saying option A. Is Raya supporting the answer or differs? Supporting. Okay, very good. Yeah. Why answer is correct. I agree that arteries can hold less amount. Why? My question is why it can only hold less amount? Because arteries walls are thicker. Why? Because if you think about the biggest artery, the biggest size in artery, aorta, it's it has to withstand that much pressure because the blood directly coming from heart is directly coming to artery, and artery has to supply it to everywhere. So a lot of pressure has to maintain. For that, the arteries walls are the thickest. So in order to the since it is thickest, so maybe area wise or volume wise, it will be smaller. So that's why at any point arteries can hold only very less amount of blood compared to the veins. Okay. So venous system can definitely accommodate a large volume because it doesn't have that much thick wall as that of artery. Um, Large volume of blood at a relatively low pressure, a feature terms high capacitance. So this is why that property where they can hold more amount of blood every time than arteries, that property is known as capacitance. Capacity is more. At any point in time, nearly three-fourths of the circulating blood volume is contained in the venous system. Whenever we calculate our total circulatory blood volume, almost every time the three-fourth may be mostly it will be in the venous system only. The remaining will be only in the rest of the vessels. Next question. Which of the following is not a layer or component of an artery? So we told artery has very thick layer. So artery has three layers, then they have some additional layers in between. So in that, in the following option, which is not a component or layer of artery, that is a question. Option A, tunica initia. Option B, tunica media. Option C, tunica externa. Option D, basement membrane. There is no answer. Okay, saying basement membrane. Maybe it's also saying basement membrane. Sure, I can give a clue. You can just check with the spellings. Maybe in the just one look, I also think, okay, all these are layer only. But if you look into carefully into spellings, you can understand what is wrong option. So I will tell. So the wrong option or the part which is not a part of artery is option A. Look at the spelling. It's written as tunica initia. The correct spelling is not that, right? To correct is tunica intima, tunica media, tunica externa. It's not tunica initia. So basement membrane and is definitely a part of artery. So it's a layer only. So the wrong part or the part which is not a part of artery is option A. It has a similar part that spelling is different. Okay. So it composed of different layers. First innermost layer is known as tunica intima, intima. There is one absence of M. That's why they will put questions to make it very tricky. Maybe, oh, it's fine only. Maybe we think like that, but read it carefully and take your time, then only answer. Second layer is known as tunica media or the middle layer, and last layer or outermost layer is known as tunica adventitia or tunica externa. In most blood vessels, basement membrane predominate and underlie the endothelial lining of vessels, encasing pericytes and perivascular cells and ensheath each individual smooth muscle cells of arteries and arterioles. So definitely basement membranes are a part. Not a part is tunica initia, but tunica intima is a layer, not tunica initia. I hope you understood the correct answer. Do you guys require more discussion or is it understandable? Just about one M was missing. That is only the difference. But if M is not there, then that is not the correct layer. Okay, going to the next question. I think it's fine. Blood clotting is an example of dash feedback. We are going back to the first introductory session where we have learned about different positive feedback and negative feedback system. Option A positive, option B negative, C both positive or negative. Shreya is saying positive. Okay. Is my BB supporting Shreya or do you have a different answer? Supporting. Okay. Assist or supporting only, right? Yeah, correct answer. Blood clotting is an example of positive feedback. Why? So whenever there is a wound is there, we have lot of signals and platelets will come and make a trap there. Lot of collagen like substance will come and make more blocks. So first initiating positive direction will trigger more arrival of lot of other substance. So it's in the same direction. That's why it's positive feedback. If it's opposite direction, it would have been negative feedback, right? So damaged tissue release chemicals, chemicals initiate platelet activation, platelet release more chemicals. So it's more chemicals. The platelet activation is leading to more chemicals. So it's in the same direction. That's why it's known as positive feedback. So not only there are other examples also. So I am telling again, please go back and refer other types of example for both positive and negative feedback system and keep all the examples in mind. Questions can come with any kind of things. Regulating blood glucose level is a dash feedback. Since it's a extra session, I cannot discuss everything that we have learned in the 12th week. But since if you have any doubts, I will be happy to help you. Option A positive, option B negative, option C again positive or negative. It's about glucose, regulation of glucose. Shreya is saying negative. So in the first week when we learned about, we only know about negative feedback system. Whatever it has said about the endocrinal system involved, there is release of some hormone. Whenever glucose is high, our endocrine system will come and signal pancreas to produce insulin. Insulin will go and make it lesser, which means the direction of flow is in opposite. Whenever is glucose is high, more insulin will come and take the uptake, right? It will make sure glucose is getting reduced. Since the direction is in opposite direction, that's why we call it as a negative feedback loop. Very good. Most of the hormonal system activity is in mostly in negative feedback loop only. Whenever something is higher, then our body sends something to make it take back. That kind of systems are mostly negative back only, but there are few examples other than blood clotting positive feedback examples also. For example, if you're looking at plants, the ripening of fruits, or if you're looking at in the birth time, the contraction, the oxytocin contraction, that child birth time, that is a example of positive feedback. So there are other examples of positive feedback, but mostly other glucose regulation, any kind of this kind of hormonal regulations are mostly negative feedback. Okay, this is about cardiovascular system that we learned. Dash begins slightly before ventricular systole. Which wave depicts Just before ventricular systole is the question. Option A, P wave. Option B, QRS wave. Option C, R wave. Option D, T wave. This is also Sir taught by showing so many slides only. So he has a very beautiful slide where he depict each duration is how many time, and each duration or each cycle depict what process. So if you remember that, then you can answer this. Dash begins slightly before ventricular systole. Maybe is saying option B, QRS wave. Is Raya supporting my view, or do you have a different answer? Okay, that's fine. Let's see the answer. So we will again go back and check this. The end point of P wave depolarization is the end point of P wave depolarization. It's the start point of the arterial stage of systole. So you remember P. Let me take the pen, then I can draw. Where is the pen? It looks like this, right? Something kind of this. This is P. This is Q, R, P, which is the QRS is the ventricular systole. So end wave of P denotes the start point of the arterial systole. So when it ends here, which means arterial systole is happening. The ventricular stage of systole begins at the R peak. So ventricular contraction starts at R peak of the QRS. And T wave indicates the end of ventricular contraction. And ventricular contraction completes by the T wave only, after which ventricular relaxation occurs. So our question was dash begins slightly before ventricular systole. So, so it should be QRS wave, like just before. So because the ventricular contraction is happening at the R peak only. So just before QRS wave only like happening, right? During the R peak only ventricular contraction is starting and it is getting completed by the T wave only. So just before the correct answer will be QRS wave. Okay, ventricular systole is related with QRS wave. Remember that. Cataract is caused by cloudiness of dash. Option A, aqueous humor. Option B, ciliary muscle. Option C, lens. Option D, vitreous humor. Cataract. When people ages, people usually get this disorder where something getting cloudiness. So people go and do a surgery where they replace that thing. What is that thing? Shreya is saying that thing is C or lens. Is my BD supporting Shreya? It will be both objective as well as subjective. Multiple choice question will be there, but along with that option, choose one option, or find the odd one out of type of question, or subjective will be definitely there. Everything will be there. It's a combination. I think they have sent that in one of the mail describing pattern will be all this kind of things. Okay. Yeah, so cataract is the cloudiness of lens only. Very good. Remember about all the things he taught us about how the lens is getting formed. Lens was also earlier when we were so younger. Lens also was a similar cell only, which contained lot of cell organelles and all. But in the course of time, a protein came and started filling it up there, which is known as alpha crystalline. So how did it become filled? If it has to fill, there should be some space. So that is space is created by degrading all the lipid bilayer membrane by the activity of lipoxygenase enzyme inside the lens. After that, alpha crystalline got filled up. That makes the lens a clear or transparent kind of structure or transparent kind of. That's why we are able to clear vision. Lenses should be transparent, right? So that's how lens is made. So remember about lipoxygenase, alpha crystalline, all these things. In the dark, the photoreceptor is depolarized to an influx of dash. So it's about again dark vision, eye special senses of neural system through open ion, the influx of dash through open ion channels that are gated by dash. So what are those ions that is getting influx during the dark vision, and what are the gatekeepers? Option A, sodium and calcium. Gatekeepers are CGMB. Option B, sodium and potassium. Gatekeepers are calcium. Option C, potassium and CGMB, calcium. Option D, potassium and calcium, sodium. So, gatekeeper and about the ion influx. What is the correct answer from the option? No idea? Okay, correct answer is sodium and calcium, and gate opener is CGMP. Remember the dark vision, we always think maybe in the during the light only all this activity is happening, but it's opposite. The rhodopsin get activated, retinal and opsin, and there is a gate opener called CGMP. So in order to, so sir plotted a wonderful image. It's not about seeing vision, the dark circles. It's about not seeing part that can. That's how the vision is regulated. So please go back and refer to vision lecture. Here all the lectures you will understand. Okay. So the ion influx is happening sodium and calcium, and gate opener is CGMB. Correct answer is option A. Okay. So whenever it is in the dark, the photoreceptor usually has high levels of CGMB. The reflex arc involving the presence of one or more interneuron is called. So remember, there can be direct neuron-neuron transmission, or there can be neuron-neuron transmission through one another type of neuron called interneuron. If it is through the presence of one or more interneuron, then what is we call it as? What kind of transmission it is? What kind of reflex it is? Is it option A, monosynaptic reflex? Option B, bisynaptic reflex? Option C, polysynaptic reflex? Option D, normal reflex? What is the correct answer? Remember, there are sensory neuron, motor neuron. So information through sensory neuron going somewhere and motor neuron in somewhere. There can be one another neuron, and that neuron is interneuron. And then if that is through interneuron, then that kind of reflex is known as dash. What is the correct answer? Polysynaptic reflex. Remember, whenever there is one or more interneuron is present, and that kind of transmission is known as polysynaptic reflex. Okay. An excessive increase in release of acetylcholine receptors at neural muscular junction would cause excessive increase in release of acetylcholine receptors. Option A, overstimulation of muscle or tetanic response. Option B, no muscle stimulation and movement at all may lead to paralysis. Option C, normal muscle activity, no change is caused. Option D, both A and B. Question is about acetylcholine has decided, okay, we will release in a large acetylcholine release will be very excessive at the neuron muscular junction. So if it is presynaptic neurons are releasing a lot of neuro transmitters like acetylcholine, then there is postsynaptic neuron. So what will happen to postsynaptic neuron? Which will leads to dash. What is the final output? If that is the case. So correct answer is option A only, right? Whenever there is a lot of neurotransmitter release, then that will go and bind with more postsynaptic receptors. So that means postsynaptic, what is present there? That is muscle only. So muscle get activated more and more and more. It will cause to a overstimulation. So option A is the correct answer. Any homeostatic process that changes the direction of the stimulus is. So it's about the direction that getting opposite direction one. We already discussed. Option A, positive feedback. Option B, negative feedback. Option C, equivalent loop. Option D, distributive loop. What is the correct answer? Are you guys still there? Any homeostatic process that changes the direction of the stimulus is. What is the correct answer? Okay, maybe both are there. Thank you. Yes, correct answer is negative feedback loop. I don't think I have to explain more. Remember, opposite direction means negative feedback. So why we say it as it is changing the direction? It may either get increased or decreased, doesn't matter, but the stimulus is not allowed to continue as it did before the receptor sensed it. In other words, if the level is too high, the body does something to bring it down. That is the easier thing we can imagine. If something is high, body will do something to make it down. And conversely, if a level is too low, body will do something to make it high. That's it. Hence the term negative feedback. Dash are the structures made of calcium carbonate in ear that sense gravity, tilt, acceleration. So other than hearing, we have a pressure system also in our ear, and there is also some kind of structure that is made of calcium carbonate. What is that kind of structure that is made of calcium carbonate which can sense gravity, tilt and acceleration? Option A, hair cells. Option C, B, scale. C, bone. D, otolith. Shreya is saying option D. Is maybe we also supporting Shreya? Yeah. So correct answer is otolith only, right? Otoliths are the structure that is made of calcium carbonate. This has some another names such as taconium or autoconium or statolith. There are multiple names for the same structure. So this is present in the saccule or utricle of the inner ear where the getting regulated. Especially there are some specific hair cells. So that's why whenever there is a change in vibration or any kind of thing, so there these hair cells can stereocilia, kinocilia, all this please remember. Okay. The saccule and utricle turn together make the otolic organ. These organs are what allows an organism, including human, to perceive linear acceleration both horizontally and vertically. They have been identified in both extinct and extant vertebrates. What happens to neurons in Alzheimer's disease? Question is about Alzheimer's disease. We have learned this in neurodegenerative disease that is happening in parts of brain So, what happens to neurons in Alzheimer's disease is the question. Remember, whenever we discuss about disease, remember what kind of disorder, where it is occurring, which part of the brain, what kind of neuron is getting affected, what is the peculiarity of that disorder, and what is happening there. Okay. Option A, the cell bodies become larger. Option B, cell body starts to die off first. Option C, processes become demyelinated but alive while the cell bodies die off. Option D, processes starts to die off. What is the correct answer? Yeah, correct answer is processes starts die off. Very good. Remember? That's why the connection will get disintegrated. That's why the neurodegenerative disorder we call it as. It is occurs in hippocampus. That's why our memory is getting affected first. What kind of neuron is there? Remember that. Um, and memory, it's a memory disorder. Why it is occurring? It is due to the accumulation of buildup of protein like amyloid beta or tau proteins. Tauopathies and beta amyloid beta aggregation causes the processes to start dying off. The appendages that connect bone to bone are called option A ligament, option B tendons, option C cartilage, option D nephron. Bone to bone connection. Who connect bone to bone? Okay, Shreya is saying ligament. Is my video also saying the same thing? Correct answer is ligament only, right? Ligaments connect bone to bone. So tendons connect bone to muscle. Please remember ligament connect bone to bone, tendons connect bone to muscle. Yeah, very good. Neuronal processes in what part starts to die off in Parkinson disease? Now the question is not about Alzheimer's, it's about Parkinson. So at which part the neuronal processes start dying off? Option A amygdala, option B substantial niagara, option C hippocampus, option D pre-Boxinger complex. Parkinson is a motor coordinator activity disorder. So in which part of the brain it must be getting affected? If it's a motor disorder, no answer. Okay, correct answer is substantia nigra. Okay, answer B. So please remember these three questions in each disease is important. What is the disorder? What are the characteristics? Which part of the which part of the neuron it gets affected? What is dying of first? Why it is happening? What are the peculiarities? Which part of the specific areas of the brain? So Parkinson's affects substantia nigra. The similarity between both Alzheimer's and Parkinson is both are neurodegenerative disorders. Processes start dying off first. In Parkinson disease, it must be the motor neuron that is present in the substantia nigra. So the information is not getting continued into the spinal cord or any kind of motor neuron, and information is not getting transmitted. So the motor coordination or activity of the body get affected. Jumping of nerve impulse from one node of Ranvier to another is called option A orthodomic conduction, option B antidomic conduction, option C saltatory conduction, option D action potential. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? No answer? Correct answer is saltatory conduction. This also we have one of node of Janvier. Remember where is node of Janvier, no, nodes of Ranvier? There are neurons, then there are myelin sheath. Inside that there are nodes of Ranvier. So from one of nodes of Ranvier to another, there is jumping of nerve impulses happening. That kind of transmission is known as saltatory conduction. Now there are other options also. Orthodomic. What means orthodomic? Orthodomic means propagation of impulse along a conduction system. For example, the normal way. It from the cell body to the axon to the axonite to the next neuron. Antidomic conduction means it's in the opposite direction. From periphery towards the cell body, the information is going, then it is antidomic. Orthodomic means in the same direction. And saltatory conduction is the type of conduction. One dots of Ranvier jump to another transmission. That's why the transmission is faster. The signals travels within the neuron dash and between the neurons dash. Option A both electrically, option B first one electrically, second one chemically, option C first one chemically, second one electrically, option D both chemically. What is the correct answer? Stay saying first one, that means signal travels within the neuron electrically and between the neuron chemically. Is it correct? Yeah. Both of the people are saying, so I also support that answer. Yes, it is correct. Why? Between the neuron, it's all within the neuron, it's always electrical transmission. We just discussed saltatory method of conduction. But between the neuron, there is a gap. That gap is called as synapse. And in order to transfer from one synapse to another, the axonite terminal has lot of synaptic vesicle which store neurotransmitter. So it is mediated with the help of neurotransmitter, which is a chemical. That's why between the neuron, it is chemical. Okay. Which of the following cell types form the population of dorsal pathway of spinal cord? Option A motor neuron, option B interneuron, option C sensory neuron, option D all of the above. Question is about dorsal pathway. Dorsal pathway contain dash, ventral pathway contain dash. So dorsal pathway contain what? That is the question. Any idea? Screen is not visible. Oh, this much only question. I wanted to see the answers, that's why. Okay. So Shreya is saying, Mayuri is saying sensory. What is Shreya's answer? Dorsal pathway. Remember, we learned one of the disorder that is coming also. Okay, let's see the correct answer. Correct answer is also sensory neuron. Okay. Sensory neuron, motor neuron. Please remember the other names also, which pathway, dorsal, ascending or descending, whatever the name it have, please keep it in mind. And what takes information and what gives the information back, so all these things. Okay, sensory neuron take the information and gives it to the brain. Brain from the brain, motor neuron take the information and deliver it to the systems. Right? So all the names, sensory is dorsal, ventral is motor, all these things. Here there is a picture. You can write afferent pathway, dorsal root ganglion. Efferent pathway, motor neuron. So efferent or descending or motor neuron or motor neuron or ventral. The in sensory afferent, dorsal, Ascending. I was just telling the names. AMPA is a dash receptor, glutamate receptor, GABAergic receptor, option C cholinergic neurons, option D none of the above. What is AMPA? We learned about AMPA and NMDA. What are those? Where we have learned this? We have learned it in the skeletal system. We again learned when we talked about neural system, where we talked about um, the polysynaptic reflexes and all, where we mentioned about skeletal system coordination activity. That time we again told this. So what is AMPA? Any idea? It's a glutamate receptor. Okay. Yeah. Remember this? The glutamate, there are different types of receptor, and channel associated and G protein coupled, but AMPA NMDA comes under ionotropic glutamate receptor. That is IGLUR, ionotropic glutamate receptors. So both NMDA and AMPA are excitatory in nature also. Next question. Which motor neuron innervate extrafusal fibers? Remember, there are some parts comes and in muscle there are two types. One will go and bind with in intrafusal, and one will go and give information to extrafusal. So, sir told interestingly how much information is going to what all these things get determined a bit. Who is determining all these things? It's still a research interesting area. All these things he was telling that time. So, which motor neuron innervate extrafusal fibers? Alpha, gamma, both A and B, none of A and B. What is the correct answer? Correct answer is alpha. Okay. Look, this is the extrafusal fiber. If you remember, so extrafusal fibers are getting innervated by alpha, and there is our intrafusal fibers or sensory elements present is innervated by gamma. Okay. So alpha is innervating extrafusal fibers. Correct answer is option A. So extrafusal fibers supplied by alpha motor neurons, highly contracting fibers that supply the muscle with its power. Gamma motor neuron innervate intrafusal fibers which contract only slightly. Because the main function of intrafusal fibers are the sensory element. They detect any change in length or uh, change in length is detected by that sensory element. But main kind of contraction, everything is done by the extrafusal fibers, which is innervated by alpha motor neuron. Yeah, that is about our questions. If you guys have any doubts, should I go back to any assignment questions that you had doubts, then please tell me. We can go and discuss it back. Is there any doubts? Any kind of assignment questions was there, but they released some. So there are sometimes the wrong questions they have given as the answer. Then they have told no that like they have edited it, they have corrected it. So any such kind of doubt, please feel free to ask now. So when is the exam date? I Are you guys there? You have registered for the exams, right? 26. Okay. Oh. So yeah, there are enough days. Now also you can just listen to all the lectures. Please understand the basic principle. That's why when we get about a question, we should able to remember all the associated things we learned about that. Then it's easy to write that thing in the words. That is the essay questions only, right? So if you know the basic principles that you learned, then the exam will be easy for sure. So don't worry, don't take too much tension. It will be fine only. Write the exam well. All the best. Do you guys have any doubts? No. Okay. Then all the best. Write the exam very well. Yeah, that's from my side. Uh, bye bye. Take care. This is the last session. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you to you guys also for joining. Bye bye.